Right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this first dialogue, Football Futures and Anfa. My name's Rudy Page. And that's for you, Roberto.
Oh, hi, I'm Roberto Rudy. I'm the founder and CEO of Anfa. And along in this dialogue, you're going to have some of my team and the people that we work with talking about different subjects within football.
Thanks for that, Roberto. And in my team, in terms of Football Futures team, I'm glad to know that my colleague from football days as a schoolboy, Wayne Buckfoy, is on, based in Spain, and you'll be hearing from Wayne very shortly. And just to give you a bit of a background in terms of what Football Futures is about, it's about to use the power of football as a catalyst for community development, youth development, particularly as it relates to the 21st century skills. Also, we're interested in grassroots club growth and the importance of football to provide a social impact on our neighborhoods. And our current project that we have in Jamaica is with the Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association, and they're responsible for about 12,500 young people. And so we'll be talking a bit more in detail about that. And so as it relates to young people and football, I think there's a great theme that Wayne has developed, which we've been working with over the years. And basically, what that theme is.
Wow. Can someone mute that, please?
Can you put yourself on mute? Okay. Right. Yeah, so our overall theme is patience and guidance are essential to realize true potential. So that's the theme that we work with, developed by Wayne. So Wayne, I'm going to ask you if you can unmute yourself and give us a bit about your football background and your insight and your general feeling. Tell us what you're doing in Spain at the moment as well. Thanks a lot. Wayne Buckfoy. So, Wayne, unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Not very technical minded. My office is a football pitch, as you might imagine.
and you're supposed to be able to kick the ball with both feet as well.
Okay, but I can't do much with this technology with both hands.
Okay.
Anyway, right, is that okay now?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I've been out here 3.5 seasons. The reason I came out here was when I was one of Glenn Hoddle's coaches based in Jerez, in Andalusia, 10 years ago at the Glenn Hoddle Academy. We had various agents contacting us, obviously, about players. And one of the agents was based in Valencia. So I came out here to Valencia and started coaching players and mentoring players that had been released. It was the same concept as Glenn's Academy in Jerez. Well, a lot of players out here also get released long before their time, or they're late bloomers, or lack a bit of confidence, you know, and guidance. But because there's so many good players out here, they get released too early, you know, or they get released when they reach 18 and they're told they're not good enough for a professional contract, which breaks their heart, like in all countries. So what we was doing, I was working alongside another Spanish coach. We were trying to build their confidence and their self-esteem back up, and working on a few weaknesses and trying to get them to believe, because belief is the main key word for this, because they've been stars in their own community. for like since they were 10. So you get to 18, all of a sudden your dreams are shattered. You go back to your barrio, your neighbourhood, and they say, "Oh, when are you playing for the first team?" And you have to say, "Well, I've been released," and it's a massive crush to kids, especially nowadays, because in my opinion, in our age group, born in the 50s and 60s, I think we were mentally a lot tougher and stronger, even in the changing room. We could accept criticism, but because of the technology now and, you know, the texting and image, especially image, people are a lot more sensitive to criticism. And when something as big as getting released from a professional club at 18 or 17 happens, it deals them a massive blow, a lot bigger than what happened. I mean, I was released from Crystal Palace and it really hurt a lot. But after I brushed myself down, I got back together and I went to Germany. A lot of kids now just go, well, I'm not good enough, or they turn to drugs or booze or both and just completely give up, you know, which is a big problem. Why there needs to be a lot more mentoring and a lot more guidance. The Spanish league don't do enough. I think they do a little bit at home now. The FA do a little bit more guidance, but not a lot. There needs to be a lot more help and guidance for these kids that are released, because it can also lead, not, you know, forget about football. You can take that into your normal everyday life. And when you start losing confidence in yourself and start boozing, taking drugs, you know, you can go on quite a rocky road. So I think it's very important, you know, these organisations that help players like that, as well as players that are off the block as well, who haven't been lucky enough to be signed pro. They need help as well. Everyone needs help, a bit more guidance nowadays, in my opinion, because the kids are a lot more sensitive in every way.
Can I just bring in Khalid, who's a mental health governor for the NHS, to talk on this little subject here? Because at Anfa, we have Khalid and his team working with young players who are released from football, players who are at teams and their mental health isn't too great, and kids that don't even know that they have mental health issues due to the pressure of playing football. Khalid, do you want to come in here?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. First of all, just to do a quick intro, I'm a public governor for 12 years in the mental health services. Also on the National Policy Board for NHS for mental health. And besides that, I've set up my own organisation as well, Think About Mental Health. And alongside that, I'm on another care organisation called Felicity Care. I'm on the policy and scrutiny. Now, mental health affects all, especially the youngsters who are aspiring to be great footballers in the years ahead. One of the key things is having a positive mindset. But how do you embed this within the youngsters? By giving them the right support throughout their career from a very young age. And it's like your parents telling you you can achieve something and you can go do something. But when you go to school, your results may say something else. But it's the teacher, the mentor that you have, and with the right mental health support, they can obviously achieve what they want to do. But it really comes to the mindset as well. A lot of youngsters, what I find is don't get the right mental health support. There'll be a lot of negative stuff that will always bring them down. To have that peer support for the right mindset is key.
Yeah.
Okay, great point. And we're talking about resilience there. Great point. Wayne, is there any point you wanted to make now before we move to the next speaker?
Yeah, the resilience is it's definitely a great point, and that's one of the things I think that's not as strong now in the last 10, 15 years because of the sensitivity of the kids.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of, like the academy system, I've never been a fan of. So you're signed to West Ham, Valencia or Tottenham at 10. Lots of the mum and dads already think that their kids are superstars. And it puts a lot of pressure on the kids when they become 13, 14, and then they get 16 and they're released, and it just breaks their heart. And I'm not sure whether they've got that resilience because they've been built up far too early.
Yeah.
You know, I was a great fan of the Associated Schoolboy form, whereas if a professional club liked you, you stayed within your environment, played with your school team, your youth club team, and then in school holidays you went with your pro side and they watched you playing for the county and the district. Only when you reached 16, 17 did they make a decision. You didn't have this big build-up of that you're a superstar. You was just an associated schoolboy, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the academy system, I think, has got a lot of failings.
Yeah.
When the kids go in 8, under 9, under 10, here in Spain, exactly the same here, you know. And the resilience is like, you know, it's a big word. I'm not sure whether that many have them. And with the advent of this COVID, a lot of the foreign players that were with pro clubs went back to their countries, where, you know, in Europe. And I know for a fact that 3 or 4 directors of coaching at the academy at clubs have said that they've come back a lot different just from this 3 or 4 months away. Yeah. You know, they had boom like this as a group and they had a training program, but some of them mentally have come back not the same, physically not the same. You know, that resilience hasn't been there.
Yeah. Okay.
Understandable. Very, very understandable as well.
Yeah.
In regard to the academy system and finding young players at a really young age and developing them and mentoring them and stuff like that, this is where Walla can come in, because Walla is an agent, a mentor, a scout. He does quite a lot of things in football. And Walla, I'm talking for you. You can go ahead and talk for yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I mean, with regards to these young players, it's a very difficult situation now because obviously with social media, it makes it tough. But once you've got a plan in place, education-wise, you can actually put in a plan B, because not everyone's going to make it in this football game because it's you know, it's very, very cutthroat. Because of my background, where I've been in like in South London, I can relate to the youngsters quite a lot, so they can relate to me also. So I always tell them that, listen, if you haven't got a plan B, you've got to be mentally strong, because if you don't make a footballer, you haven't got that second occupation, then you're gonna you know, go off the rails. But yeah.
Okay. So if you think about the big question that we're on at the moment, resilience, then what in practice can be done for these young people now at this point, these young footballers?
Just have a strong education, basically.
Okay.
And be realistic.
Yeah.
Because then not everyone's going to make it.
Yeah.
Even the elite players, you know, who are going to make it to the top of the game, if they haven't got design and commitment, and they're only focused on the money and the trappings of the game, they're going to fall by the wayside, basically. Because obviously, you need more than that. If you haven't got that desire, and you're only focused on, you know, the money and the trappings, it's not going to get to you don't have a long career in the game at all.
And one of the things we try to instill in our players that we work with is that they need to think about life after football. Yeah. Because at any time they can be injured. They're spending the money that they're being paid. A lot of them aren't saving. They live in the lifestyle and not thinking about their financial security in the future. And this is something that we really instill in them and help them with. And I think it should be done across the board within football.
So that sounds like something that should be done quite early, in terms of if they don't make it, and the realistic message, which I guess could be an educational message for parents as well in their teens, about being able to do other things as well. But then I guess it's going to be, well, who would want to do that, and who would be responsible, who would pay? There's some realities, because it's a free market, isn't it?
I think with the parents, a lot of the parents put extra pressure, because obviously they go through the academy, and all of a sudden they think they have a stellar career, but that sometimes doesn't happen, and it puts more pressure on the player in himself. So if he isn't really, you know, mentally strong, then, you know, it's going to be devastating for him. Yeah. So you know, with the parents, they got to be more realistic, because parents I've met in this field they always think it's about money, and if it's about money, you're not going to last in the game. If you ain't got the desire, the commitment, and a plan, you're gonna get found out. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, Rudy, one of your next speakers.
We can get Matt on. Matt deals with the PR side and stuff like that with players, and maybe Matt might have something to say about this resilience and young players and stuff like that. Matt, can you hear us?
I can. How you doing? I'm Matt. As Rudy said, my background is very much in PR and commercial management of players. I link players and brands continuously over the last 8 years. In regards to resilience, I think the biggest issue you've got right now is brand pressure. So we're all talking about a young player that hasn't made it, but you've also got to understand the pressure that comes on a player that has made it. You know, players now are put in a position where they are on a billboard, they're the face of a brand, they're signing multi-million-pound deals, and unfortunately, the pressure that is then put on them to be the face of this brand means that these guys now, whether they're 19, 20, 25, they are now positioned at a point where they have to be a leader. You know, you've got people like, a good example, the England squad now. I think we all saw about the examples of Mason Greenwood, Phil Foden. These young boys, they make mistakes. They are now required to have the resilience to step back and understand what they made a mistake, but also then carry on still in the public eye. You know, Phil Foden is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Yet he's only a 20-year-old young man. So how is he meant to understand what it is to be a young man, but also then at the same point be an international leading footballer who is required to lead an example for young children? And that's a big problem that I kind of have to manage on a day-to-day basis because, again, picking up on Weller's point, the realism, my industry doesn't give you realism. My industry gives you money, fame, and also the world looking at you. You know, you go from being a no one. A really good example is Mason Greenwood. You know, Mason 2 years ago was an academy scholar, struggled to get into my United team. Now he was on the front page of a newspaper last, 2-3 weeks ago. You know, how do we as a group of individuals feel it's okay for Mason, who will make mistakes? You know, these are children, remember? We've all been in that age at 19, 20. I'm guessing we all don't know what it's like to live that age, but also have the level of scrutiny, both positive and negative, that these kids have to manage every day. You know, it's gone far.
Yeah,
they need a plan, but also it's, you know, this is where I kind of almost criticize my own industry. You know, brands don't care about their mental state. Brands don't care about their mental age.
Yeah.
All they care about is you service a point that we're paying you for, which they do, you know, and they benefit the player for that. But certain players can handle the press. You know, Raheem Sterling is a great example. He's gone through such a rollercoaster ride. But look at him now, he's a global superstar.
Yeah.
He has now, as we've all seen, he's gone through a journey where he now has to act a certain way.
Yeah.
He has to, every little minute detail of his personality, his lifestyle, his family, his social, everything is under the microscope because he, quite rightly, is benefiting financially and publicly from the backing of a Gillette, you know, Puma. He's one of the biggest, you know, marketable assets on the planet. You know, I think we need to look at the long-term side of it where you know, we need to understand it's really positive to be a global icon.
Sorry about that. Can you unmute? Can you mute yourself, please? Okay. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so my final point, I think as Rita point pick up on, and again linking back to what Khalid's kind of said, the mental health. We've all kind of, I think everyone here can probably explain that we've all had a mental health issue in the last 5-6 months. You know, COVID has pushed everyone to limits. But imagine having to box that, put that in a little box, park it aside, and almost become a performer. So it doesn't matter what you're feeling. You wake up in the morning, you can have a good day, a bad day. Unfortunately, footballers aren't allowed that. They've got to not only perform at 90 minutes, but again, I'm criticizing my own industry. They are then required to not just perform on the pitch, off the pitch, after a game, before a game, whether it's a Saturday, a Sunday. You know, they are required to maintain a social media platform, a lifestyle, an entire image because they've got millions of children that are going, if they do it, I can do it. I think that's the biggest lesson we have to teach people going forward.
So that level of money demands an accountability that is nearly humanly, it's not possible for the points that you said, isn't it? Because somebody can turn around and say, listen, we're paying you. I've noticed somebody's got their hand up, just finishing on Matt's point, but the money's making the individuals accountable, isn't it? Demands a level of accountability. Is that even realistic?
People like myself, that is our requirement as brand managers. Like I said, look at some of the biggest brands, both here in UK and across international. The brand themselves, they have to maintain the image themselves.
Yeah.
And that is that happy balance, which is obviously my job, is to manage that balance between what an individual is capable of, or what we as a group of individuals train them to be capable of. If that makes sense, because some players, and I've seen it firsthand, players that I never thought would be able to manage the attention and also the detail that we need them to go to on a brand campaign. But also, there's young kids now who, Mason Greenwood, Phil Foden, they've been on the page for the back page for their own reasons, but they are now on the pages. So all your people will now know Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden.
Right.
So they need people like, the Anfa group and people like this to kind of say, look, guys, you made a mistake, but, and everyone who says it, no publicity is bad publicity. It isn't, because now everyone knows who they are.
Yeah, and they turn that around, they'll be heroes.
Exactly.
But that's all on the top level of football. In regards to the grassroots level, Bobby can tell you about the grassroots level, because Bobby runs Hackney Wick Football Club, and he has to deal with grassroots football, resilience, and young kids who are on the streets, their only escape is the game of football that he has them playing.
Right.
Bobby, do you want to
I was going to
chime
say,
in here?
just before Bobby comes in, there was somebody with their hand up, a Galaxy.
Okay.
If we just let that question come in, Bobby, from the previous point, and then you come straight on. So if you're still there, you had your hand up with the Galaxy whilst Matt was speaking. I did unmute you.
I think he's gone.
He's gone. Okay, Bobby, straight into you then.
Yeah, sure. I mean, different levels of football, I guess, with the higher heights of the Premier League to where we are in the sort of step six of British football. But it's all the same thing. Even in our teams, kids are trying to break into the first team and trying to just to balance their sort of expectations of getting to the first team and being left out, and then the sort of attitude that comes with that as well, and also balancing it with the fact that some of them in the areas that they live in, being in the council estates, the dangers that are with the sort of people that hang around with those estates. There's a difficult balancing act, and we're created Hackney's first ever semi-professional football club. But what we do with our team is that to build a sort of camaraderie is that every player has to volunteer. So try to build that whole community angle from the very start, so it shows them that they're responsible. So the borough of Hackney look at you as people, as sort of, almost as ambassadors for the local area. So if we get you guys volunteering for the local area, then okay, I can't afford to mess up because I got a Hackney Wick FC tracksuit on. So when people see me on road, they expect some sort of level of behavior from me. They can't see me smoking any weed. They can't see me on a night out with alcohol when I'm meant to be, although not a professional footballer, a semi-professional footballer who has values and morals that goes with a football club. So what we try to do, we got things like employability skills. I mean, because of the network I've got, people are always coming to us and say, look, we need about 5 or 4 people for work. Do you know anyone that's... So I've sort of built a network that allows these young people to go out and get a job, that allows them to, because they're not getting paid at our semi-pro club, because we ain't got a budget to, but it still allows them to go and get some form of employment that keeps them off the street. So it is difficult because, like, for example, there's people messaging me, oh, I went in the squad for tomorrow's match. And everyone wants to be in a match. I mean, we've got BT Sports, so I come in to do a live story on the football club and myself tomorrow. So everybody wants to be part of that video. But because there's only 16 people that can be put in the squad, you've got disgruntlement, and then they have to come back to me, I have to go to the manager. And it's hard trying to really get these people to understand, like, you'll get your chance, but at the moment, these are the people that are playing. So you almost have to be a mentor to them, not just as a coaching side, but also in life, and being patient.
yeah, yeah. Okay, and you raised some really significant points at this youth development level. So it's almost like there's some extra burdens at this youth level because, and I like the idea in terms of what you were saying about them wearing the tracksuit with the club, that almost, and the club itself has community values. So that almost the young person wearing that, wearing your uniform, it probably helps regulate some of the behavior when they're out there because they don't want to miss being selected for the team. And those of us who used to play years ago always found that was an important thing that, you know, that's how you were managed sometimes by, well, you won't be selected, you know, you won't be in the squad, you know, that was one of the ways of managing people. But like,
and that is the reason why I started the football club, because when I spent 8 years in prison, I realized football was the thing that everybody craved. During the week, Monday to Thursdays, there'll be fights, the bells will go off, the alarm will go off.
yeah.
Friday, everybody knew football was on, everybody's on their best behavior.
Yeah.
So I was like, you see, you guys do know how to control your behavior because you want to go and do something you like. So coming out and realizing the Borough of Hackney didn't have its own professional football team, I said, can I use those same skills that I saw in prison and implement it outside where it is behavior based? And you might be the most talented, but if you're not doing the right things, you won't be selected.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. So we've got Clive. Is Clive on the line? Former footballer, South African footballer. I think he did come on at some point. Are you there, Clive? If you are, you could unmute yourself and give us your perspective so far, as you're recently. Right, we're not hearing from him. Rudy, back to you.
Okay. What do you want to move on to another angle of football?
Okay, yeah. I'd like to bring in Dr. Zamir Zivadine, a colleague from mine, Commonwealth Future, and some of the work that we're doing as it relates to, and I think we're going to health and conditioning, which is an area that Wayne has done a lot of work around that. So conditioning, nutrition, and those kind of things. So Zamir, I'll go to you first, and back to Wayne.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for inviting me, Rudy, and Rudy too, or Roberto one. You know, if recent times has taught us anything, it's this: when united in a cause, our humanity shines through. We've looked out for one another, you know, as you've been mentioning, appreciated others in society, like key workers, like Walla, like Bobby, who have obviously been overlooked because they're doing a wonderful job. With this in mind, I want to share the work we do here at Commonwealth Future. We are not for-profit, non-political organization and run by like-minded people who use our collective skills and knowledge to strive for an optimistic future for all our brothers and sisters across the Commonwealth. We're very honored and privileged to have inspiring individuals like Rudy, entrepreneurs, business owners, community champions who share common vision to instigate positive change, like all of you are doing. We're still in our infancy stage, but have a lot of aspirations and hope. Over the last few months, we've been hosting some really interesting webinars to spread awareness of the Commonwealth Future. We invited guests, special guests with lessons and knowledge, and to think and share that across the Commonwealth. People who joined the webinar, like this, have the opportunity to join lively debates just like this and impart their thoughts and challenge participants. Feedback has been incredibly positive, and we are now hopefully sparked a great level of conversations, hopefully inspiring and benefiting everyone here across the Commonwealth. One of the common themes is our 2020 vision, which we established at the Commonwealth Future to improve people's lives regardless of geography, gender, financial status, through access to better health. It's called 2020 Vision. That's optometry, eye care, and correctable vision. Its purpose is quite simple. Good vision opens many doors and opportunities, be it learning, keeping fit and healthy, fulfilling personal and professional potential. It also enhances our quality life, including our mental health, from seeing our family, playing sport. In this country, we take this for granted, thanks to excellent care we have to access. But we are mindful that this isn't consistent throughout the Commonwealth. Our focus is the Commonwealth. We want to change this. Vision deserves our tender, loving care, just like mental health, from all of us. At least 50% of all sight is preventable with early detection. Poor vision can have a negative impact on our well-being and make us feel isolated and disconnected from our peers in society. However, there's corrective vision aids and other optometry or eye care services which are highly advanced, having developed over the years. Our 2020 vision strategy, it has a common thread running through all our webinars. We've learned from experts about trends in digital evolution. We welcome professors and authors who have penned personal memoirs with great insights into the importance of building character in our classrooms, and which is connected to the character in the football pitch. Imagine a society where you had access to these assets, but without good vision. Equally important as mental health. It makes you stop and think that sight is a right everyone should have. And we ensure, we remind people at the end of our sessions that what we are hoping to achieve here at Commonwealth Future. To achieve this, we need to work together, all of us. We need to deliver more quickly and make better use of our eye care expertise worldwide. So today we're here to champion, as part of the Commonwealth Future, is hoping to champion that wonderful sense, the sense of vision. Good vision allows us to learn, fulfill our passions, and fulfill our potential. Together, these things go hand in hand, and hopefully we want to create a fair and equitable society, equal society for us all. The game of football, the ability to visually discern, to see, helps football players anticipate and move to the motion of the ball, creating a better vantage point. Color vision, ability to see different colors, to see depth, the depth focus, and being able to differentiate or discriminate contrast on the football field is essential. People like Wayne, if he couldn't discriminate contrast without good eye movements and tracking, that he would have been at a disadvantage. The eyes are essential for the detection of motion, that motion and transmission of information, which is important for all of us to react more quickly in the football field. The focus for our upcoming seminar, which we are working with Rudy, is working in eye care education through reading in Ghana and Jamaica. Our support for eye care education, and particularly digital eye care awareness in young people, is demonstrated by our support for Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association, Jamaica, and also Knutsford University College, Accra in Ghana, Africa. We are having a next webinar on the 22nd of October at 6:30 with Lord Paul Boateng, and representation from the Ghana High Commission and the Caribbean Diplomatic Service, talking on the cooperation across the Commonwealth. We welcome for people, all of you, to listen to our fascinating speakers. We also would welcome if you can help us make an impact on Commonwealth Future. every participant can contribute as much as they wish or learn as much as they want to. Just don't miss out. Please register by speaking to Rudy or myself. My email is chairman@cwfuture.org, or look at our website, www.cwfuture.org. So again, it's a really fascinating topic you're talking, and it's something which I've been unsighted of. I've been a football, I used to play football when I was young, but you know, with a lot of other focus points, I don't follow it, but it's really fascinating to see the pressure, and you know, hopefully the eye care can be integrated with mental health and sport in a positive way.
Great, thank you very much, Jamal. Great.
That's a pleasure, thanks.
So, Rudy, is there anything that you want to say before we move back on again?
No, we can move straight on.
Okay. So, Wayne?
Yeah.
We used to talk a lot about conditioning, nutrition, and taking care of self. If we could take us through some of your points around that. I know you've done a lot of work on conditioning, particularly.
Yeah, I mean, in the game nowadays, well, for like 10, 12 years at least, you know, the physical conditioning and your nutrition has had to take another level, because the players now are so physically fit, sharp, got great bodies, and that's a different times of you stepping up different levels is your physical condition. So, you know, you have to be aware. I mean, the fast food culture coming, you know, at the same time. So when you're a youngster, you need a little bit of advice, not to be eating hamburger and chips and, you know, fast food, this type of stuff, because, you know, it's quick energy and it's gone. And if you're going to try and develop your body and develop your fitness conditioning, it's not going to, your body's not going to react in a good way. And I think, you know, apart from like the football side of it, it's a great way that education, which a lot of the youngsters get now, is great, because it helps you in your everyday life. You know, you're eating better food, you know what to eat, when to eat, and it's helping your everyday health. So not just for football. The kids now, if they're shown, I mean, if you're not shown, it's the same out here in Spain. In Spain, they've got a fast food culture. They've got lots more pizza houses, takeaway foods, whereas the Spanish always used to eat as a family and always be fruit and veg from the market, fish, but it's crept in over here. So if they're not given, the Spanish kids from like 12, 16, are not given that education, they will go back into that fast food culture, because it's just the fashion. They like to hang out in the hamburger joints and the pizza gaffs, you know. So they still need their education. I don't know, even though years ago it wasn't so paramount. I think it was more paramount back home, you know, with all the fast food and that. Because now we know we can go down the market, we know all the colours, all the fruit and veg, it's going to make us a bit stronger. We can be a bit quicker, we can jump a bit higher.
Yeah.
We're going to use that. But also it helps us in our everyday life and everyday health. You know, it's just good for us, not just regarding football. And I think that's a big plus. The sports science, I mean, it's fantastic now.
Yeah.
Back when we played, it was steak and chips as a pre-match meal for it.
Yeah.
Absolute waste of time. You know, but boxers and footballers, before a fight or before your game, you had steak and chips and maybe an egg. You know, you don't get the benefit of that like 6-7 hours if you get it at all. You know, so that really come on sports science.
Right. Okay. Great point, Wayne.
Benefited unity as a whole. Because even if you're playing like grassroots or semi-pro or pro, you're still becoming a healthier person. I think it's a really good. That was a great advantage to sports science.
Right. Okay. Great point. Right. We've got somebody with a hand up. As Haifa, yeah. If you'd like to unmute yourself. In fact, Hafiza.
My phone isn't working, so excuse me, that's completely wrong.
So did you have your hand up to ask a question or make a point? No, no, okay, no problem. Okay, Rudy, have you got anybody on your side in terms of talking about that side, the conditioning, the health, nutrition side?
Probably Waller.
Okay.
Waller would be probably good at this because he has to take care of it when it comes to the players. Hello, Waller, can you hear us? Waller, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. No, I mean nutrition is a key point in football now. If you're not eating right, you're gonna get found out. I mean, most of the elite players have got their own chefs these days, so you know, especially with academies, most academies in England now they've all got their food on point with regards to nutrition. So that's a key point. I mean, for me, playing football back in the day, you know, you could eat anything you want to eat, but then, you know, you can't do that now because the body we just fail you. So with Anfa, obviously, in our academy, we make sure the nutrition is basically in line with all the other academies. But yeah, I mean, without nutrition these days, you're going to get found out, and that's why it should be obviously in place in all the academies and with all the various organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. Right. Okay. We got Pili Mirazi, one of our colleagues from South Africa, and then I see we've got Roy Page from Jamaica. So we'll go to Pili first, and then we'll go over to the Jamaican sunshine to Roy Page, which I'm a bit jealous. He's probably in Florida anyway. So Pili, you first.
Hello, everyone.
Good day.
Yeah, Pili the Zulu
Queen.
from South Africa.
Queen.
But please remember me, I'm Pili the Zulu. I'm proud of myself being a Zulu. Yeah, it's very interesting to get the people who've experienced it, who've dealt with it, because I'm involved in a project where we're trying to cut the middleman and to cut all the barriers that stop our youth from achieving, because in terms of businesses, small Black businesses for the youth, they are shut because they can't bribe, they can't open doors. So we've created a platform where we want everyone to directly involve with people who are doing what they are doing, and then create something new and create a new initiative. And I'm so pleased for everyone who's in here, because we're working with tourism, which is a township in Devon, and we're in partnership with Invest Devon and also Brand South Africa London, and they're welcoming all our initiatives in things that we pick up from this kind of talks. So this is just not just a talk, it's something that we can collaborate and see where we can do things better and improve it based on your experiences. And I'm so grateful that you guys made it tonight. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks for that. And I think Clive was on, but he seemed to have gone off the line. So if he comes back on, if you can speak to him, then we're being an ex-footballer from South Africa. So it would be good.
In regards to Africa, like our organization, the African Nations Football Association, we are trying to champion female football in Africa as well, because it's not very publicized. There are many female footballers out there. There are many female football teams, and nobody takes any interest in it. I know that female football in the UK is not such a great interest to everyone, even though there are some big teams. But in places like South Africa, it's a great outlet. Places like Africa in general, it's a great outlet for females that they can play football. It's a piece of independence. It gives them independence. It makes them, they run their own teams. There's so many things we can get them: endorsement, commercial deals. It gives them a bit of income and power, because football has such power across the world that for women, when they get into football, it's great empowerment for them. It's so great. And then it gives them a chance to travel to competitions and things like this. And sometimes people don't ever think about the women when it comes to football. A lot of teams and organizations will come to Africa, and the first thing they're looking for are young, strong African boys that they can come and offer them a little bit of money, bring them to Europe and spend and sell them for massive amounts of money, while their families in Africa are still poor, and these kids might get injured and they're just sent back to their countries. And this is what we're trying to tackle. Oh, you seem very happy.
I am happy. I am happy because I'm very much involved with some female football associations in South Africa. But so I was still trying to pave the way. I don't like to promise things that I cannot deliver. So I kept them on myself, and I said, when the time is right, when I've got the right people, I'll bring you on. So that's on my shelf. So worry.
You're the right person now.
Yeah.
Well, when you're ready, Pilly, just come and have a conversation with us.
Thank you.
And we can go from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great. Roy Page, can you unmute yourself? And just tell us a bit about yourself and your perspective on what we've been talking about. Are you there?
Hi, Rudy, can I just come in for a moment?
Come in there, Callie, because the page is not coming on. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think when it comes to the African nation itself, in regards to mental health, now this is something that I've had very lengthy conversations in regards to how mental health is perceived in Africa, for example. Now, I know places like Ghana, and I spoke to somebody who's actually worked in mental health, and what she highlighted to me, that people who have mental health issues often travel a very long distance and have to pay a lot of money in order to get treatment. Now, as you know, with such countries, it can be quite difficult to get the right treatment. A lot of the times people will leave it because A, financially they can't afford it, and B, is because of the long distance traveling that they have to do. Sometimes it can take many days to get to the ideal destination to get the basic treatment in regards to mental health illnesses. So I think not only we've got the opportunity to raise awareness about how young footballers can maintain their healthy mindset, but also how important to use this platform through football and raise the awareness of mental health illnesses and issues, so people who are from a poor background can get the right treatment at an affordable cost as well.
Yeah, that's a good point in terms of access, and that's the challenge. It's the access challenge, isn't it? As always, especially if you're from a disadvantaged background in terms of your neighbourhood community. Okay, all right, right. Roy Page, are you there? Right, there's somebody else with their hand up. Okay. Lewis, is that? I can't read the first name. Would you like to, could you unmute yourself and make your point, please? You got your hand up.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Evening.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Just about. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, keep talking. We can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Let me just move to get some. Okay. I was listening to the topics that came up, and it was very interesting to hear because I'm the founder of Durban Lions FC in Durban, of the south of Durban. Excellent. And all the topics that were mentioned. And because we're working from the ground up, I have a lot of young matriculants, people that are finishing their final year in school as well. So we face with a lot of difficulties when it comes to economical factors, the environment where our kids are, that distracts them. So what I have done is that we have formed this football team to help them get away from all these type of drugs, violence that is going on in these communities, you know, and football is, how can you say, it's the biggest thing worldwide, globally, that helps these kids get out of these situations, you know. So we have got some support from our local companies to assist us with these things, to get our boys well nourished for the game, so that they can be hard, you know, play a game very well. And we have certain sponsors coming through as well to assist with registration for the Corsa League that we have joined as well. So it's a very educational conversation that we're having, and I'm loving the information that you guys have, and they're giving us to help us manage our kids as well, you know. So
Great.
to listen to you guys speak is just amazing, to help us manage our kids for when they do get chosen. We do have one of our leaders as well. His name is Carl Davies. He's playing for Lamontville Golden Arrows. So he has also joined us as a professional to help our kids reach their goals, because we need somebody there that has already reached that stage of football to actually motivate these kids for the plan that we have for them. Because, you know, to keep young kids focused and motivated on their goals that they have set for themselves is a mission on its own.
Yeah, you make a great point, because that's why with Football Futures, we're interested in youth development. So what we say is there's a basic framework. So we talk about the 21st century skills that young people need, and you need those in football, which are collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking. We've then added entrepreneurship and social skills. But also, when you think of young people in our neighborhoods, in our communities, young people need somewhere to go, they need something to do, and they need someone to show them how. And we believe that football is the catalyst and can deliver all those things. So at that growth level of young people, you might not end up being a footballer, but you can still love football. There's lots of other things in football that you can do. So it's a good focus for life and development. And that's what I like about the Hackney Wick team. But is it Bobby who runs that team?
Yeah, he's had to go.
I think it's great, because the point he made there, Rudy, when he said about those young people wearing the club colours as a football club in the community. So that there's some role models there for the next generation of youngsters to look up to. And the discipline, if you want to play, then you need to behave yourself, you know, if you want to be in a team and be picked.
I was gonna bring this up about role models in our communities, not in across the world. For a lot of communities, a lot of these kids don't have mothers and fathers as role models. Their mothers and fathers may be drug addicts, they may be in prison, they may just not be around. And in football, the kids come into football and their role model will be the coach. It will be the manager. It will be the guy that owns the team. These people are very, very serious role models for them, because they can see that, look, if I don't make it as a footballer, I may be able to make it as a coach. If I don't make it as a coach, I may be able to go into business and I may own my own team. And these are the kind of aspirations that Anfa are trying to bring to the table, because as a community, as a diaspora, our community doesn't own football teams. We don't own major football teams. How is it possible that probably more than 50% of the big name players in the world are black, but yet we don't own a black Premiership team? We don't own a black European team. What is going on here? What is the thinking behind these young players and the amounts of money that they're earning? Why can they not come together and buy a team and help the younger generation and give the younger generation role models that are not footballers, but businessmen?
Yeah, I mean, there lies the market opportunity, isn't it? So, and it's down to those of you who are in the game seriously to, you know, start the clubs. I mean, some of our work in Jamaica is about club growth and succession planning as well. And so I think it's a great opportunity. Right, there's somebody who, Patrick who's raised his hand, wants to make a point, former national coach, I think he said national footballer. But Patrick, national team player. Are you there? You can unmute yourself and we'll hear what you've got to say.
Okay. Is okay now?
Yeah.
Hi,
Tell
everyone.
us a bit about your background and make your point, please.
Yes. Everything is fine? You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Patrick Zundi. I'm an ex-football player from Burkina Faso. I also play in Europe for over 17 years in Bundesliga, in Belgium, and in Greece. You know, most of the mistake we do in Africa is to don't prepare the children to accept the culture clash. Because we only think about their talent. We work in their talent. But sometimes when they arrive here in Europe, they cannot mix with another ones because they don't understand the way of living and all that. And sometimes they think that these people is true, that is a matter of racist and all that. But sometimes this cultural clash also make some children down.
Yeah.
Make some children down. And this is what we are trying to work in Burkina Faso. We are trying to prepare our children to come here to accept the culture of people, and they can grow more easy, to learn the language. And we also prepare them to accept that in football, is not everybody who is going to come. Then we try to make them learn like jobs or something like that, because some is the children of the street. They don't go to school. Then we don't have the time to put them in school, but we have the time to make them learn something. When they come, we also prepare them to accept that you have like 17, 18 years of professional, but we have like 40, 50 years to live after. Then we also try to prepare them. The little money you get there, we try to prepare them how to invest in this kind of, in houses, to invest their money that can survive in the future. And we have also this problem. I was speaking with the coach of Lokeren some years ago about South African people, because South African people don't accept challenges. The new generation, because it's also money in South Africa. It's everything. They are big stars in South Africa. When they come here, they will not accept the challenge when they are in the bank or something like that. And the first thing they do is to run back to their country.
Yeah.
They run back to the country. And this is a big, big problem because they don't prepare to accept challenges.
Yeah, and I think Wayne touched on that earlier on about the sensitivity.
The sensitivity.
Yeah.
This is the thing. And right now, what we are trying to do, I was in my football school, we also have like a mental help to help us to accept challenges. Because in Europe, we will not go there and we have to start to behave like we are in Burkina Faso. They have also then they start to prepare us. And it's also some children you can see when the mental coach is speaking to them, there are children who is like they cannot mix with another ones. Then automatically they take them out of the football school because they know already that it will be very difficult for them to go outside and have a success. Then that's why in my football school, we was like 17 players where we start to prepare for the professionalism. And I think 13 come out professional in good teams in Europe. And one is a doctor, one is a judge, he's working there. Then we prepare, but this is in Burkina Faso. We started that like 20 years ago.
And
like 20.
And that's good to hear that actually, because it's not, that's sharing some information that we didn't know. So it's great.
And we started 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah, okay.
That means we already prepared the people and the children to accept challenges in Europe with the mental health, with everything, with the food. That it's true that our food is sweet, everything is nice, but the problem is not going to help you in your professional career. Then you have to also accept to eat this food who can help you, and also accept that it will be like a cultural clash. You have to accept to be inside this society and to grow with these things, because this is where you have to play. You cannot want to continue to behave like you are in your own town. That's why when they also come to our own town, they try to learn the language, they try to do that, and they try to mix themselves, and then we can work together. And most of the times, our like agents and all that, we only concentrate in talent. This boy have talent and all that, but we don't prepare this boy to accept the challenge.
Yeah. And
the sad thing is that across Africa, they don't have this mentality. So you are Burkina Faso is a small country within a huge continent doing a very good job in that country. What my organization intends to do is spread this type of philosophy And this type of, we have the infrastructure to be able to do this and spread it across Africa. The players and the talent need to be prepared within Africa before they reach Europe and the West. If they're prepared in this way before they reach, they will definitely be a success. The problem that they're having at the minute is that the preparation is not there. They arrive in Europe and their mind is gone. There's so much things going on, the lifestyle, the language, the food. If they're Muslim, they're looking to find a mosque to pray. They're looking for their own communities to associate with. They don't have any of this. A lot of the times, an agent will come along, take a player from Africa, take them to Europe, drop them with the team, and that's it. He's moving on to the next player until that player is ready to be moved again. These are the type of inherent things that are happening within football that we want to change. We don't just want to get players and bring them to the UK or bring them to Europe. We want to change football. There's an inequality within football, and we need to make conscious decisions within Africa to make these changes happen within Africa before we bring them, way before we bring them to Europe. Because otherwise these poor young guys are not prepared. And then when they're not prepared, their game goes downhill. And then all of a sudden people are saying, oh, that kid from Congo, oh, we don't want any more Congo kids. Because when they come here, all they do is party and get drunk and can't play football. And then all of a sudden, the one Congo player or one African player from one country has now tainted the rest of the players in his country for years. Yeah. And these are the changes that we have to make as a group. Our one organization can't do this. We have to work hand in hand with other people, especially people like you, especially people like the Lady Pili in South Africa, so that we can make these changes. We want to be the organization that the West, FIFA, FA come to and say, how can we help you change the structure of football in Africa so that it comes up to the level of the structure of football in the West? Children from Burkina Faso should not want to have to come to Europe to play football. They should be happy playing football in Burkina Faso because they have commercial deals, they have sponsorship deals, and they're making money there and they're happy there.
Okay.
Rudy, you're breaking up. Rudy, you're breaking up.
Yeah, Rudy, your line's breaking up for a second there.
Strive to come and play football in Europe, the changes that we have to make. Am I back?
Okay.
Am I back?
Now you're back.
All right,
Yeah.
good points, Rudy. Right, we've got Wayne, you want to come in, and then Roy Page, I see you got a hand up. So Wayne, is there something you want to add to that? Points?
Yeah, I think it's great, those points. I think, you know, we've spoken about it before many years ago, that these exchange tournaments, exchange coaching clinics, you know, it's a lot, you know, because it's true. I mean, lots of African players who are brought over to Belgium, for example, because lots go through Belgium and France. They're spotted when they're like 14, 15, put in academies aligned with education. And it is, lots of them within 2 or 3 months are not the same footballer, because if you're not happy mentally, you're not going to be able to play football to the best of your ability, you know. And, you know, that's because it's such a great shock. Yeah. You know, like it was spoken before, you know, it's a huge shock. It's even a shock to some Spanish players. If you're from Andalusia, and then go to London, because something just as simple as the weather and the food, you know, the family get-togethers, we don't have that as much back home, you know. But I think it's greater for African players to come into Europe, 14, 15, 16, is a huge change. And if you're mentally unhappy, you're not going to be able to train and play to the level that you should be playing at, or you was playing at in Africa. So these exchanges, where, you know, where these youngsters can come over at 12, 13, 14, of course, need the finance of a sponsor, but it can work both ways as well. You know, the European team playing in tournaments over in Africa as well, you know. I mean, it can be, I don't think there's enough of that. There needs to be a lot more.
Yeah, and again,
the weather is a big thing that people never take into consideration. You've got a kid who has been playing in the sun for 15 years. He's brought over to Grimsby, and on a cold Wednesday afternoon, he's playing in the rain, and people are wondering why he's not that superstar. Like, come on. It's a culture shock. The weather's a shock. Yeah, there you go. So people need to take these things into consideration.
Yeah, even if you're born in South London and Grimsby, man.
Poor old he always gets that, don't it? Can he play? He's all right, but can he play in Grimsby on a cold winter's night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the sun, like with Portuguese, Spanish, Greek players, it affects them immensely because they only get 2 months or 6 weeks bad weather here. You know, when it's raining 10 months of the year, it's grey, you know, and they haven't got the food culture either.
Yeah.
You know, where you know, food's a big deal over here. Even though they've got the fast food culture a little bit, it's still huge in general. Yeah. You know, the families sit down, have lunch together, and evening meal. You know, that we don't do that so much. We used to do it in our era, but the youngsters don't do that so much now, do they? You know.
Times have changed, right? Roy Page, and then we got Mr. James. So Roy will come to you, then Mr. James will come to you afterwards, and then we've got a long question on the chat, which I'll read out. So Roy, where are you? Which country are you in?
Okay, thank you. I just I'm in the best country in the world, man. I'm in Jamaica.
Okay.
Well, I'm from Jamaica. And I can identify with what you're just saying about Africans and the temperature and all of that, because here in Jamaica we have those issues also with our young players going to Europe for training or to be scout, where scouts come to Jamaica and look for players. I'm part of Barbican football team. I was a former player of Barbican football team and Portsmouth, and that's in Jamaica, not England, right? Just to be clear. So here in Jamaica, what we're doing, especially with Barbican, we have joined up with an academy out of Boston by the name of Valio. So that football club has partnered with us in Barbican to help our young players from 9 to 16. So we have a program like that is helping persons with education, because I noticed you mentioned education, which is key, which is very critical to the growth of young players. And that's what we're trying to do in Barbican, to help players, because in Jamaica, football is like food here. It's not something that we play every now and again. It's something that becomes part of our day-to-day activity. And with COVID, it has become extremely difficult for us to really play the way we want to play or communicate, because football is a way of different players have different way of expressing themselves, and most of our football playing is played mainly in the inner city communities. And without football, it causes a lot of things. A lot of things can happen. So the whole social aspect of this thing is important. The whole knowledge or education is extremely important for us here in Jamaica when it comes to football. So one of the things I wanted to emphasize here is that as this gathering come together, we need to have more of this so we can talk more and see how each and every one of us can help each one, because I hear most of you are from Europe, but from Jamaica standpoint, while we have similarities, we have a lot of differences that we like coaches and scouts to understand that when our players come there, the adaptation to adapt to the climate condition is difficult, and there needs to be some amount of consideration given to our young players coming into these climate that we are not accustomed to, because we have sunlight every day of the year. So it's not one of those places that we have some amount of cold weather at times. So that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize.
Okay, thanks for that, because that's part of many of those points, of course, is the work agreed with CASAFA and Football Futures. I think Valio, they're also in Portugal as well, aren't they? As well as Boston, their academy. But you raised some.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
You raised some good points, and I believe with Rudy's organisation, that type of framework is definitely in the area or the type of work that they'll be doing in the future. I can, just from my initial. Right, there's somebody else. Let me just check who it was. There was another hand up. I think it was James wanted to make a point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah. Tell us a bit about who you are, and then.
So I'm 15 in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm an agent, and I just wanted to ask if there are any agents here. What do you think is key in becoming a successful football agent?
Excellent. So Matthew, you still there? Or Rudy will have to deal with that if Matthew's not there. What?
I'm here.
All right. The young man is asking, what do you have to do to become a successful football agent?
Right, so there's two things. So it depends on, first question, why an agent? What's your motivation for being an agent?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Okay,
your motivation?
Basically, I want to be involved in like the football business, but I just don't want to play football. So an agent was like the best alternative for me, and also I love money, so.
Okay, well, we all do. Don't worry.
I think, can I come in on there as well? I think it comes down to identifying and having the natural ability of having the skill of identifying talent, which is key, and being able to have the negotiation skills of being an agent. I think that kind of embeds into it as well. So as long as you've got the knowledge of the game and how to negotiate, and you can identify talent, where that talent will end up or hopefully can end up, I think that kind of will help as well.
Yeah, I like that first point. So, Mr. James, do you see yourself as somebody good at identifying talent? Have you noticed that within yourself when you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've actually already started trying. So. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad at 15 you've got something clear in your mind like that. So hopefully, are you? Which area are you from? You in Durban?
No, I live in Ghana.
Oh yeah, you're in Ghana. Okay.
Wow.
I'm sure Rudy will be able to connect you and your family.
How old are you? How old are you?
15.
Wow.
Okay. Walla, can you come in here, please?
He sounds determined. He sounds determined, nice, isn't he? That's in this
Tell
game.
him about the difficulties of being a football agent, especially planning from the age of 15.
And loves money.
Yeah. I think we all love money, but if that's your main goal, you're gonna get found out, because at the end of the day, if you haven't got a plan in place for players, especially, to make it, it's hard enough. But if you're thinking about money straight away, then that's the wrong type of motivation.
That's not the.
You got to love if you love the game.
Yeah, I love the game.
You love the game. That's the greatest point to start with. You love the game.
Yeah.
And if you got passion, then that's another great point. And you got and if you want players to succeed, have a plan in place. With regards to letting them fulfill their potential. That's what I do. End of the day, I love the game, and I'm really passionate about it. And I know the pitfalls out there, for especially for young players. If you don't have that plan in place with regards to education and legacy, because at the end of the day, if you don't, especially with money, if you don't plan it and you run out, and there's a lot of players at the moment, they've had stellar careers and they're broke. That's poor money management. So if you don't plan for the future, you're gonna fall by the wayside. And one of the saddest things in life is when you get to say 35 and you go work in Tesco's after having a great career in football.
Yeah. So may I ask, what you're basically saying is a big part of being a football agent is also having great money management skills.
Yes, and also have a passion for the game. If you've got a passion for the game, you go far. But if that's your only focus, because if players that have, if you're an elite player and your focus is only on money, you never get to the top of the game. Never. You get found out. Without dedication and determination, you never get to the top. You know, if you're only there for the money, you might as well play in China for all your career. You know, so you know, if people like Ronaldo, Messi, they're elite players, and their passion and dedication has kept them at the top level for 15 years.
Yes, yeah, and
so if you want to get this, if you want to be a successful agent, and you're passionate about the game, and you get them players in, make sure they have your vision. If a player hasn't got my vision, I don't want him, because at the end of the day, I want him to succeed at the very best. You know, so being an agent, your goal should be to be the best agent you can be out there, and have the guidance for that player, so he feels his potential.
Excellent point. Thanks for that.
One more question.
Yep. Okay.
If I may ask.
Yeah.
I want to just ask where I can sign up to hear more about webinars like this.
Right. Okay. I'll put my email address on the chat room, and you just drop us a line, and we'll connect you with Rudy and his team. Right. This next question really is for Rudy and Matt to answer.
Okay.
To do with government and government education initiatives and the commitment around those, but the critical question for you two in particular, and we will all be listening very carefully. What does the panel think about a mandatory salary contribution of top players' income level dependent to youth sport projects within schools to promote Olympics and sportsmen and women of the future? So
whoever asked that question is on point. We love that. I would love that. But the difficulty of it is getting players, teams, and agents to agree to this. What we are trying to do is we're saying that we want to make a mandatory donation from all our players that are signed to us, and it will go towards grassroots football. So we're already on that.
You're on.
Go ahead, Matt.
So I don't think everyone here is aware of Common Goal.
Right, no.
So Common Goal was created by Juan Mata.
Okay.
So Juan Mata, obviously we know who Juan Mata is. He plays Man United.
He's a Man United great, isn't he? If I remember rightly.
He is still there, 29 years old. He set up Common Goal, where every player who's part of it will donate 1% of their salary to charity. You know, Common Goal, I encourage you all to have a look at it. You know, Juan Mata, I don't know if you know much about him. He's a very, very honest man, but also a very, very generous man.
Yeah.
Especially here within Manchester. Common Goal has a lot of high-profile players already. A lot of high-profile. So back to the point of I think I saw in the chat. In my honest opinion, you know, every player should. But will you get every player doing it? No. And I'm sure people will have a look at it. Okay, what 1% of a Raheem Sterling's salary or a Kylian Mbappe's salary? But the fact is, you're not judging it based on how much they earn. The fact is, not every player earns that sort of money.
Yeah.
Many people here who've been in football, around football, for every Raheem Sterling, there's 10,000 who only just make, enough to pay their bills. So you need to make it so everyone can do it, because being a footballer is a privilege.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate privilege in sport. And if you make it accessible and available for everybody, then you'll make it a lot more easier to get forward. So I think it's a great suggestion. Obviously, Rudy and I have already spoken about kind of the demands, and I use the word demand, but it is going to be almost a demand and expectation that Anfa will have on everyone who's involved in us to donate. Because football, like I said, is a privilege. You make a lot of money more than anyone else. But you also have to manage your long-term, as I think as well as mentioned, your long-term financial, kind of goals, because people in football who earn a minimal wage, still got to pay for their families, support their families. So I think you've got to make it doable for everyone, not doable for a very select few.
Excellent. So, so I guess people can just Google Common Goal on that, and they will get the address. Excellent. Rudy, is there anything more that you want to say on that around that topic, really?
No, Matt said enough for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So, right. So, where are we now? we're running down to the last 30 minutes or so. And so I'd like us to really focus on the future now, and some very simple practical steps, because we've touched on and we heard some of the things that Wayne was saying in Spain. We had something else from Burkina Faso. We had something from South Africa. So Rudy, I'm going to really throw this ball into your court now. And it was touched on that somehow there's this whole thing around knowledge sharing, you know, in my profession, we do a lot of that knowledge sharing symposiums. And then, you know, out of those symposiums, you then agree a consensus on what the strategic priorities are. And then also you focus your mind around some actions that could be then translated into workable plans. So at this point then, if you could give on what you've heard today and what you know and what you intend to do, where would your strategic priorities be if you were to set them out to everybody now?
What, for the future of,
for the future as we move.
Of African football, or for the future in football in general?
Well, I would guess in the area where you're going to be operating, where you have influence, I guess that's really, because at the end of the day, football is a free market, and it's about how you access the market and at what level you come in, where you are strategically. So, as you touched on earlier on, there are a lot of opportunities in women's football. There's a lot of opportunities when it comes to youth and young people, and there's other goals other than just money when you're talking about youth development. You know, we've spoken about there's community development. Yeah. So given that you're kind of global.
All right, so how I would say is for the future of football needs black representation at the tables at the top.
Yeah, so
that is the first. That's one of the first things. Black Lives Matter has put us in a situation that has never happened before, where everybody wants to see change. How this change will happen is where organizations like us come into it, where we have the infrastructure and the capabilities to implement the change. So an issue with African football at the minute is that it doesn't have the infrastructure to create this change. And this is where we come in and we go to Africa. So at the minute we're doing things in Egypt, Nigeria, Gambia, Ghana. So we go in there with our infrastructure of commerciality, endorsements, coaching, possibly putting in academies or partnering up with academies and helping them improve their levels of training to the levels of training that we have in the West.
Okay.
If we can improve the infrastructure in Africa to the standards that we have in the West, there won't be such a divide.
Right, and that was exactly my point. I was going to say, the infrastructure. I mean, that's so key. There's a reality there in terms of the football infrastructure. And then some of that, I guess, within the continent, in terms of, and again, it was touched on, you know, the different cultures and this cultural understanding, even within the continent itself. You know, footballers, as was mentioned earlier on, from Burkina Faso, South African footballers, you know, there's something about that whole inclusion and cultural understanding, meeting different people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, and then, you know, being part of a team, let alone then coming to Europe to play football or wherever it might be. And I guess in time, there'll be people will be traveling all over the place playing football as the different continents make their major tournaments have a lot of value. So yeah. So it's that infrastructure, and where do you move from here then, I guess? And the plans.
We need to partner up with. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to partner up with good organizations in Africa to help them put together the kinds of changes that we need, the kind of education and facilities and partnerships with big teams from Europe.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to come in here?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea of kind of the scope of Anfa. So currently right now, like I said, I'm working very closely with not only the clubs here in the UK, but also across Europe. We are doing a lot of change within 3 of the biggest clubs in Africa. I'm sure Rudy had a conversation yesterday. He knows what I'm talking about. Obviously, we can't release this yet, but we want to kind of stress that I know a lot of this is kind of theoretical. It's really not. You know, we are practically right now working with literally one of the biggest clubs in Africa to help them realize a goal, but also be a shining light for what we're trying to campaign. You know, we're all kind of want to kind of see it in practicality, and for the Western world to understand the harsh realities, the good and the bad. You know, we're all kind of discussing a lot of the negative aspects within the African football nation. But Anfa is also going to be a beacon for positive.
Yeah.
You know, once the Western world sees a club that we are dealing with, the size of the club we're dealing with, action the change that we're kind of campaigning, it will change hugely the attitudes of not only Western clubs, but also it'll give a lot of hope within the African nations that if the club in question that we're talking about embraces this change and actions it and sees the benefits, we can do that as well. And that is exactly what Anfa's going to be doing. So I stress you all to kind of keep an eye on Anfa over the next probably 3 to 6 months now. And these clubs that we're working with closely now will show huge change.
Excellent. And that's really a good point, Matt, because obviously we always know that there are challenges around equality and fairness, but we also have to think about that happens at home, abroad, and within communities and within cultures. So it's that sounds good to hear, that there could be some kind of exemplar model for people to follow. And I believe also with you guys, you're in a good position to create probably some new systems and ways of working based on some protocols that, you know, other organizations could sign up to. And I know even working with CASAFA in Jamaica, that they definitely would be interested into signing up into any sort of other community protocol agreements. I mean, we've got one already with Brentford Football Club, their community supports trust, and you would know of the Soccer for Health program, which is quite strong in Europe, and they've embraced that. And so yeah, so I think you guys are definitely in that position to you know, put some protocols that other associations around would be willing to sign up to, because they really do need that knowledge and that insight that you have.
Yeah, on that point, again, Rudy, I'm sure release this over the coming weeks and months. There is an organisation that we are partnering with, probably one of the most powerful in the world, that will be bringing a level of resource and knowledge and history that is unmatched, completely unmatched. Again, Rudy smirking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, once this is announced and the partnership is fully, you know, explained with Anfa, the change will be ridiculous. I mean, in the nicest possible way, it will be huge, and it will benefit all the people kind of over here on the organisations, because, like I said, the size of the organisation we're partnered with is recognisable across every human being on the planet. That is the size of it. And again, I'm sure Rudy will kind of explain to it. But that's the main reason why I'm so excited what's going on with Anfa, because in the next 3 to 6 months, the change we're going to inflict will be human.
Okay, that's great. What we believe in, respect is a common ground for all of us, regardless of our background and status. So it's great to hear that. So Rudy, did you want to say something?
Just that we are not just working with one huge organization. We have ambassadors of Anfa who, in the next coming months, when they announce, there'll be announcements coming out in the next coming months. And when people realize that these people are associated with Anfa, they'll see the levels of change that Anfa is aiming for. Right. We are trying to make changes worldwide, not on a British level, not on a London level, not on a particular African country, across the globe. Literally, there are levels that we're trying to reach that even if we only reach halfway there, the change will be amazing.
Yeah, but you've got to plan it, and it's about people, regardless of their background or their status, which for me is the most important
Yes.
This. Right, Pilly, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to highlight something. And thank you, everyone. It's been a very fruitful meeting, and I'm so impressed that, you know, sometimes it's a collaboration, because me and Rudy are all about collaboration. Is great. Look how many people from different countries are connecting for something that we all, you know, after the same mission. But if it wasn't for this, some people might look at it at a small scale, but if this is the root core where we talk the real stuff. And then we can make changes, we can collaborate, and then we can move this to another level and achieve the common goal, which is to allow people to be there and like people based on our experiences. And I'm very amazed and chuffed about every speaker tonight, and I'd like to thank everyone for being here. But I want to enlighten something that is also on my project. It's not complete yet, but because of what you guys are talking about, we've decided with certain people in South Africa to have our own channel where we will speak like this. No one restricting you can't speak, you can't do that. It's restricted what you speak about. We want to own something that will reflect what's going on here, and then relate with people from South Africa, or you meet them through the channel, we collaborate, and better life is created, especially in times like this with COVID-19, adapting people into the 21st century skills and recovery plans for post-COVID-19. So
Right.
yeah, that's for me.
Well,
That's amazing.
You've got your football partner.
Oh yeah.
In terms of, and definitely, I can vouch for them as we'll talk about soon. Right.
Don't mention him.
Right. So Patrick, you've got your hand up. Thanks, Pilly, for that.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I want to intervene. Yes, I just want to speak also about like all the infrastructure and everything. The most mistake we are doing like Africans is when we play football. After the football, the only things we want is to go back with our money at home. We don't try to learn what is happening outside in the field. You know, to play, to be in the field is different about the business who is outside of the field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we think that because we are in the field, we know what is outside in the field. Then when we run back in Africa, the only things we do is mistakes. And we cannot come with some things. That's why I think that we have to try, our African players, to sacrifice some years after our football career to learn what is the business outside to grow the teams. How we can come to organize a better teams in Africa with the learning of what is happening in Europe here. You can see in Germany, you can try to learn, you can see in England how they are successful. They are not successful only because of the field. They are successful because it's outside of the field. The business is outside of the field.
The business
and this
of
is
football.
the mistake most of the African players is doing. Business of football. And this is how these people, they are growing. Everybody wants to look at them all over the world. And we will go back after you can play. We can say it. We are too much big player in Africa. But you can look at that is not a big player who is even in front of the football in Africa. You can look at like the football in Africa is like a business for politicians. That's why we are not growing. We are not growing because we are not growing because the people who is behind think that the national team is representing the country.
Yeah, we wanted to avoid that word, Patrick.
No, because sometimes,
please,
because we think that
please avoid that word.
The only thing.
Yeah. Please avoid that word.
I take it out.
Yeah, take that.
I take that word.
I just want to another field. Let's move on to the
other. I take that word to the side. Yeah. Okay, then I think that if we try to learn what is outside of the field, we can make football in Africa get better.
Yeah, and I definitely think, again,
because
that's a role for Anfa.
Yes.
I think the guys have touched on that. That's the type of thing, because they know about the business of football. And I think Rudy quite earlier on, that's definitely one of the areas of specialism for them.
And this is very important because in football, in the football, we have to try. That's why I tell to the youth when I'm speaking with the children, I tell to them that the football is one of the sport who can learn you everything in the life. How? Because you can be, even if you are losing, we will still tell to you that you still can win.
Yes.
That's why you have to fight to come back. Then he's learning you how to manage your life after. Even when you are losing, you can still fight and come back.
Yeah.
And you can still win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is like the mentality. Yeah. And this is the mentality the football is giving to children.
Yeah.
The football is giving to children that when you have something, is not sure that you are going to keep it in the future.
Yeah.
Because even in the last minute you can lose. Then you have to fight to keep it.
Exactly. Great. Right. Rudy, great points. So Rudy, before we go on, do you want to answer or make a point to what Patrick just said there, and then we'll go on to the final subject?
All right. So what he said about the business of football. So this is one of the elements of infrastructure that we bring to Africa. So in Africa, a lot of emphasis is put on the talent of the player. Let's create great players, send them over to Europe. The thing that we want to change is that from the top down. So from groundsmen to players to physio to coaches to the people who own teams, we want to be able to infiltrate all of this and teach and guide and consult from the top all the way down, so that within the whole business of football, we are in all the elements and we're learning all the elements. So it doesn't take a European coach to come to Africa to create better players. An African coach should be able to come to Europe and learn the skills and get his standards up to the levels of the Premiership or the Championship or whatever, and go back and then teach those players and teach other coaches, so that we have the systems in place to teach our own people how to do these things.
Okay, so the knowledge transfer. Well, it's knowledge and skills transfer, because this is, football is about skills anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowledge is important, but skills are essential, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. The last topic, and I'm going to start with Wayne on this one for all of you. Right. Parents. So what are the 3 top pieces of advice that you can give parents when football coaches, agents, etc., clubs come along and say, your child is brilliant and we think that they can get to the top? So 3 pieces of key advice from each of you experts that will take us to the end of the show. And Wayne, I'm coming to you first. You haven't spoken for a while, so you've got plenty of time to speak. That gives Rudy and Matt time to think of their 3 that you don't mention. So I don't want any repeats from anybody either.
Yeah, this is going to be Matt and Waller's area.
Okay, good. So you've passed it on to them.
And also Khalid. We need to bring Khalid in on this one.
All right, that's a hospital pass to those 3. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like, just for 1 minute, go back. The lads was talking about going to Africa and sorting the thing out over there.
Yeah.
With an organisation that you haven't mentioned yet. I think that's a great idea, because you know, rather than an agent going there, taking a player from a certain academy, selling him on and whatever they do, and then forgetting them, the academies, in my opinion, in a lot of countries, they should be the agent, the academy. Okay, the academy should be the agent,
and they should reap the rewards of growing and nurturing a player.
Yeah. So the academy, you know, reap some rewards, and you've got money for the infrastructure as well, not just an individual taking a player out of like an academy there, and then he just goes on. Yeah, it's great. I mean, he may, like a lot of players do, when they retire, they put a bit of money into certain academies. But if that was done at an earlier point, like the academy itself works as an agent, so to speak, then they reap a lot more benefits, I believe, you know, and help the children and help it right the way through, you know. I just wanted to say about that, you know, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, Wayne, that's a great point. Right, before you come to the parents, so you've got a little bit more time to think about the parents. because you're talking about that internal growth as well.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
within, with that type of what they would call endogenous growth from within. So that's an excellent point. Right, before you come to the parents, we've got Portia from Durban, one of my colleagues in our Let's Talk series, and who would like to say a few things. So Portia, if you could come on, please, unmute yourself. Portia, are you there? Right, okay.
No, Portia.
We're not hearing from Portia. Right, so Wayne, your 3 top pieces of advice for parents, just in bullet points.
Okay. Leave the coaching to the coach.
Leave the coaching to the coach, right? Okay. That's one, yeah, nice one.
Coaching to the coach. Leave the criticism to the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I was very guilty of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that, and also for parents, you touched on it earlier, or somebody did, that when you're a youngster, I mean, I was the same, you was the same, Rudy, I know. Our first coaches were very important to us, not just as coaches, as people, as personalities.
Yeah.
And, you know, the mums and dads need to realise that the boy or their girl is going to be looking up at that coach, especially at a young age, you know. So just let them get on with it. And if things are not going great, that they might have a bad game, let them realise that the result is, even though I don't like this, it don't matter if you don't win, because you know, everyone likes to win. But the emphasis shouldn't just be on winning, you know. And a lot of parents are like, you know, oh, we should have won that. You know, why didn't you shoot earlier? You know, that's putting a lot of pressure on a young 11, 12, 13-year-old, or even younger, or even older, 15, 16. You know, you don't let the coaches and the team do that. And you as a parent, be someone who puts arm around the shoulder during a bit of a bad game or bad run of results. Not, I find it in my experience, the reverse. And it's very negative on the kid, on the player.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And that last one, I'm ashamed to say, if I had taken the example of your father when he used to come to the matches, he never said anything. He just watched the match.
Yeah.
But I used to interfere in my son's when he was playing. So great.
Mind you, as lovely as he was a boxer, not a footballer.
Yeah, all right. Dealt with you afterwards. Okay.
Yeah. No, he didn't. No, he used to say, listen to your coach.
Yeah.
Listen to your, well, it was trainer in those days. Listen to what your trainer says.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what he used to say.
Right. Right.
I don't think after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rudy, that's over to you and your team now on that.
Walla, do you want to come in?
Hi, Rudy.
Right.
Oh,
can everyone hear me?
Portia's arrived.
You hear me?
Right.
Yes, I'm here.
Walla, hold one second. You hold one second, Walla, because Portia arrived.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Portia,
sure.
as it's you, we're letting you, you know, elbow your way in. No problem.
Absolutely, all the time. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm really excited about this. I'm not gonna lie, a soccer fan, but obviously I'm hoping everybody knows I'm from the tourism side of this whole conversation. So how we figured we fit in with the whole thing is that usually, mostly in South Africa, all our soccer players or our young players want to go overseas or be drafted to play overseas. But then now by having these conversations, you've given them an idea of what it is actually like to actually want to go play overseas. So being mentally prepared to play there, financially prepared, and all those other factors that would allow them to come and play them. However, I'd like to put out a challenge as usual to everyone. We have had conversations about this. Rudy and P and our office usually have conversations about collaborations. So in South Africa already we have small teams. I see some of my friends actually did log in today to join the conversation, because they have the small little teams where they play soccer, but then it's not in the big leagues. And soccer in South Africa is mostly, or rather football for those who don't know. Okay, so football in South Africa is very one-sided. It's like a monopoly. There's only 3 teams that will always be at the top that everybody will go and watch, and that will be your Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, and as well as Sundowns. But then the small little leagues that play in their own communities are not recognized, and they don't even play with each other. So what I'd like to do, or what we'd like to do to promote tourism as well, because this is also a very big part of it, is that they start playing with different communities. We will then, Rudy, I'm putting this out to you and your people, we would like, when we find winners, or we have our top 3, then you guys can come down and visit us in South Africa, maybe see how the players are working, put out pointers here and there. You might find your next star in South Africa. So I think that will be an awesome initiative. But for now, I'd like to encourage all the South African players, firstly, to build up their teams, encourage also the young people and children to participate in football, because I feel like it's one of those sports where one can actually grow in terms of just being a player financially as well as business wise. And I think the business side of soccer is just one of those things that are overlooked in soccer. Like, we don't really have agents that manage the soccer players. We don't really have the people that does physio for the soccer players. I'm not even going to go into the marketing side of it, where you find players sponsorships and stuff like that. It's like, that's not big here. So I'm putting it out there, and I'm saying, if we are actually going to do this collaboration, we'll highly appreciate your support, and also have more of these conversations. We will always give you feedback as to what we have done so far, and we can get pointers from you of what else to do. But for now, we're going to start small. We're going to get the players from different communities to play with each other, and then we'll build it from there. So Rudy and Pili, thank you so much for always having our back and involving us in such collaboration. So we're very excited to work with everyone.
Okay, Portia, thank you very much.
That's it.
Thank you very much for that, Portia. And the great thing about that challenge, that there's another Rudy, and you were actually talking to that Rudy and not me. So Rudy answered that question.
She didn't even realize it. She didn't realize she was talking to me.
So Rudy will answer.
So Portia, in regards to tournaments, we have already got something planned. That we already are in the process of planning something for smaller teams and academies across Africa and the world. We already have something planned. So you come in at the right time. And in regards to the South
that is
African
amazing.
and commercializing it and endorsements and stuff like this, let me just bring in Matt, because I'm not sure why that is not happening in South Africa at the minute. Matt?
Again, I don't think there's any negative reason. I think, you mentioned before, you've got a culture. So Western brands, unfortunately, their exposure within Africa is expanding. A lot of brands don't really understand how to manage their own market campaigns in the African continent, especially in particular with countries like South Africa, because how can they if they've never actually spent the time to understand the country? And that is being brutal. That's unfortunately, in the industry I'm based in, it's very ignorant to new things. And the African continent, from my perspective, my opinion is huge potential. It's fast growing, but unfortunately, the Western brands, they stick to what they know. So we again, as Anfa, are going to bridge that gap. We're going to be that entity that gives the African nations the opportunity to talk, also to pitch to these brands here in the UK and abroad, and let them see this positive potential that's coming out of the country.
Great. And again, as we said already, Rudy, there lies the market opportunity again, as Matt has just described, because there will be brands looking for new consumers all the time. They're in competitive markets. So if somebody can guide them through a channel as trusted partners and on the ground, and that's the great thing with the work that we're doing in South Africa at the moment, particularly in Durban, we've got trusted channels and partners all the way down to the neighborhoods, as Portia described.
the funny thing is that in Africa, Africa has its own brands. The thing is, you don't need to bring in the European brands. The sponsorship can be done with endorsement in Africa by African brands.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I don't. We're not really sure why these African brands are not endorsing and giving sponsorship to these teams, but there must be a way that we can coordinate this and we can try and work it out how it can happen.
And some of it is, some of it though is how and I've done a lot of work around sponsorship from you know, the value that you're going to get locally. So again, and that's a good thing, having the trusted partners that people ensure that your brand gets the recognition, and it's not just taken for granted because you've handed over some money, but they want your brand to succeed. They want people to support. They want their friends and family to support your brand because they appreciate you know what you've put in. So that's a key point, and I've experienced a lot of that.
Rudy, both Rudies, can that be extended to Jamaica? That program that you're planning or thinking about in Africa?
Yeah,
of course.
Because Football Futures CASAFA, it's all linked, and that's why Rudy and myself have got together. So
what we were saying is that even though our organization is called the African Nations Football Organization, it encompasses the whole of the African diaspora. So there are people of African origin across the world, and we're not going to leave anybody out.
Okay.
So
right.
some more dialogues on that.
Yeah, good to clarify something sometimes. Thanks a lot, Portia. Right, Rudy, back to you now because we're running down to, we're actually on our time limit. So just get the key points, key advice, the 3 key advice points to parents.
Should I take that?
Yeah, well,
with regards to parents, my 3 questions always to the parents, and what they should always take on board is getting the right financial advice. That's key, one question. And also being realistic as my second question. And the third question is getting the plan B education, because football is cutthroat, anything can happen. So if you haven't got your plan B, then you're going to definitely fall by the wayside if you don't make it in the football world.
Right.
Matt?
Yeah, so mine's again quite quick and simple. I always ask the question, why football? I always ask the parents, why football?
Yeah, good question.
Secondly, I'll say, okay, what's life after football? And then thirdly, I usually it's to the dads. Have they ever been in football, and what was their experience in football? Because the biggest thing I've kind of noticed is that both positive and negative, father and son's bond is huge. I'm not saying it's not the bond with the mother as well, but traditionally it is a father and son bond within football. If the father's had negative experience in football, it can sometimes influence their son's future development in football. And I've seen it both positive and negative. So I always ask that question as well, of how they experience football and what's their perception of football. Everyone on here has always got a different idea of what football is, positive and negative. You never want a negative past experience to hinder a person's positive future experience.
Great. All right.
Last of all, Khalid.
Yeah, I think all I want to say when it comes to parents, and I've seen it in another sport, in snooker, there was a young talented snooker player that I've actually supported, and his father had always intervened, told him how to play the game, what to do, what he's not doing good, and the father actually became an issue in his game. And the son told me, look, my dad keeps on interrupting me, I can play the game. When he's not there, I'm playing good. But when father's around, he's putting a lot of pressure on him. And I had that chat with his father then, who stepped away for a while, and actually his son done well. So I think the peer pressure from the parents, it can be negative, and it's just about keeping the right balance. Your coach, as Wayne said, is a key person. Somebody who knows and understands the game can really nurture them in order to excel in that game as well. So it's not just on football. I think it affects every single sport as well, even in boxing.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rudy?
Oh, my 3 questions to the parents. Pretty much, it will pretty much be, what do you expect to come out of this?
Yeah.
What are your what are the plans for the financial gains that you're going to earn from this? And if it all goes wrong, what are the plans then?
Yeah. Okay. Serious plans.
Yeah.
And on a positive note, so that I'm going to allow you to close the show.
Oh, thank you. On a positive note, what I can say is that the future of football is bright. The future of sport within the diaspora is bright. We are in a time and place that we may never get a chance like this again to make the changes that we can make right now because of Black Lives Matter. After this time, if we don't take the opportunity to make these changes now, we're going to miss out and we won't have this opportunity again. So on a positive note, if we can all come together and work and cooperate to make change and have plans and set goals for the future of our youth, then there's no more better time than now.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Great. And thank you very much on that note, everybody. And we look forward to the next forum, and we'll keep you up to date with that. And thank you very much and good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Great.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
Wayne, see you.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.
Cheers, Rudy.
All right, great. Great to catch
Hello,
you
mate.
again.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Billy,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet
Matt,
you.
good to meet you, Matt.
Thanks, everybody.
Khalid, we'll be meeting up
guys.
soon.
All right, bye.
Some stuff. So great. Cheers.
Oh, this is quite encouraging.
Great. All right. Great, great. And all our colleagues in South Africa, Ghana, and everywhere, that Burkina Faso, it's great to see you all. Thank you.